Good morning, Faith. It is morning, still morning, right?
It is. Good morning.
So I've started these with fun facts. Fun facts. I think that so, and I'm going to read this quote. Let me do the fun fact and then I'll read the quote. So, because the quote's about the caterpillar that you sent, or partially about the caterpillar. So, a fun fact about the caterpillar is the caterpillar has just one job: to eat. Isn't that interesting? That's their primary job. And I think it's relevant for this quote. So do you want me to read the quote or would you like to read the quote?
Uh, Getting back on the fun fact, imagine if that was your only job in life. I mean, we always say we want to come back reincarnated as something else. What if we were the caterpillar?
I know. I would love that. I mean, I'm a big fan of eating. I mean, I went to a barbecue yesterday and we were having this conversation and I said, I don't think that there's many foods that I'm not in love with. I mean, I'll pretty much eat just about anything. So maybe I could be a caterpillar.
But those of us who look at you and have this type of conversation say, well, I can't eat anything. I don't have the genes, but obviously looking at you, I mean, what are we, a size 2?
Okay. So, what's interesting about that, Faith? So at my highest, I was 215. So I know I am not conditioned. Well, I can eat just about anything, but we pack it on. My family packs it on. And so, I was drinking and eating and doing all kinds of crazy things. And I woke up one day and I'm like, well, no, my grandfather called me matronly. And I'm like, I don't think that's a term of endearment exactly.
That's probably another podcast.
Probably is. But yeah, I mean, I think I would come. Would you come back as a caterpillar?
I think I would, but I think that the response before I read Eric Hall's quote was to look at the caterpillar and say, yuck, it's eating my plants. I have to kill it. Not the endearing way that Eric Hall looked at it. But please read the quote.
Okay, so I love this quote. Thank you for sending it to me, by the way. And it's posted in LinkedIn somewhere. So, like the caterpillar, this is by Rabbi Mike, which I love his stuff. Like the caterpillar, we are hungry for all kinds of experiences, and they all go into becoming who we are. Yet it is important from time to time to reset our equilibrium, to get back to basics, to remind ourselves what the essence of what we are all about, especially in order to embrace moments of growth and transformation. Wow. I read that over and over and over. And then I said, let's do a live about this, Faith, because this is good stuff. I mean, there's so much packed into that. And what were you go first. What was in there that was packed into that you're willing, like, I want to share this? And what did you walk away with from that quote?
Well, in all honesty, I kept thinking about my dad, who, at 85, he was still taking Kabbalah classes.
Okay.
He was always about learning something new. He had a quote that he said, you get old too soon and smart too late. And nice. For him, it was always about brushing off the old, always thinking that he could be better. It wasn't about being the smartest person in the room, but it was realizing that the innocence that you have as a child, the questioning that you have as a child shouldn't end. It should continue until your last breath. That's what I got from the quote.
The curiosity, right? As kids are so curious. I love the why question. Why? And they're inquisitive and want to learn. They want to dig in. So it's that, I guess. Some of it, yeah.
Well, I think that people, as we get older, as we get to be our age, you don't want to ask why, because that's perceived as a failure. That's perceived as not being smart enough. You're always afraid of showing your vulnerability. Here you are in that very serious conference call, and everyone seems to know more than you. So you never want to raise your hand and say,
I don't get this.
Or for me, in my profession, being an attorney, everyone always talks in acronyms. Everyone talks in initials. and being afraid to say, sorry, not really aware of that. What does that stand for?
Mm-hmm.
But what would happen if we still embrace when we were 5 years old and would say things like, I'm not familiar with that. What is it about that you think is important for me to know? I think it's the whole basis of sharing with one another what your strengths are without feeling it as a weakness.
And it being okay to say, I don't know, or asking the question so you can learn and grow, get better, help somebody else, or help yourself even.
Or it doesn't end. I know that, being an attorney, you have to take your annual legal education credits.
Mm-hmm.
But why only once a year? Why only when it's time to renew the dues?
Mm-hmm.
I find myself in meetings at work, and nowadays there are certain issues that are on the forefront. There's security breaches, data privacy. To be able to say, what do I really need to learn? What can I do after this meeting to brush off the cobwebs? I haven't been practicing law for over 30 years. Things get stagnant. Things need a refresh. And I think the beauty of the internet is you can find just about anything, anywhere. You can Google, you can click on information and never leave your house and educate yourself.
What do you think? Where do you think the hunger comes from?
I think that the hunger comes from wanting to be your best self.
Mm.
I think what happens at a job, you're at a job for 5, 10, 15 years, and you get pigeonholed.
Mm.
For me, okay, I review vendor contracts.
Right.
Indemnity is indemnity. Liability, it's never going to change. But what changes is the conversation with the customer or the conversation with the vendor and how I could make the contract easier. Let's push aside all of the legal mumbo jumbo and get to the heart of what is it that we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to make a deal for both of us that we can both be happy with.
Right.
And to feel that we can walk away and have a relationship, a positive relationship going forward. So what can I bring to the table? What knowledge base can I share to make this a better deal?
And then there's the nuances in the hunger and the growth, I guess, based on I want to talk on the relationship piece, right? Because you're helping, you're growing the relationship too, not just the contract. It's also the people aspect of it as well.
Well, I think that if you want to sustain as a company, as a corporation, you have to adapt. You have to be agile in your message. I mean, there's customers out there and you can easily lose them as you can keep them and attain them. And I always said that it's a lot easier to keep your existing customers than go out and get brand new ones.
Yeah. I went to this, I was talking about the barbecue. I went to this barbecue and there was a gal that said, she's like, I don't have any goals. She said, I'm just putting in my time, doing what they pay me to do. What would you say to that gal that doesn't have any goals or is not really growing? She's not interested in growth. I mean, what's your thought on that?
For me, it's not living up to my potential. I feel that there are particular opportunities in life that you have to take charge of. You are put in situations. There's that higher power. If you want to talk about God, or if you want to talk about this higher being, that you have to step back and say, I'm here for a reason. I'm supposed to accomplish something.
Yeah.
So let me take it all in and let me actually do, it's doing, I think, a personal assessment on yourself And I'm not talking about just your strengths, but your weaknesses.
Sure.
And surrounding yourself with people that give you the feedback, the honest feedback that you need. In other words, as an example, I would reach out to people in my team and I would say, are you receiving the message that I want to send? Am I being clear? And I remember the first year of this position that I'm in, people would say, we don't hear your message because you're so uncomfortable in public speaking that we only hear your fear in your voice, in your body language.
Wow. That's growth.
So some people say, well, I don't like public speaking, so I'm just not going to do it anymore and forget about it.
Right.
But to take what they say and realize that you, in order to grow, need to embrace the fear. You need to go to professionals, subject matter experts. I immediately joined Toastmasters, which I highly recommend. And I've been doing speeches ever since.
You're here doing this? It's like, that's new and probably a little uncomfortable too, right? And you're beautiful. Thank you for being here.
And not getting emotionally sick doing it, which is a miracle, but it takes time and it takes investment in yourself. And I would probably share with this person, don't you want to go through life actually with both arms open, with all gusto going, with an open heart, open mind? What is it that you want to accomplish in your life? Don't you think that you're put on this earth for a purpose? What is that purpose? Don't you want to find out?
Yeah, that's awesome, Faith. Amy, I want to read some of the things that Amy just wrote here. What changes in the conversation, quotes, or you get to the heart of what we are trying to accomplish, positive relationship moving forward. Such good nuggets, Faith. Thank you. So that was the one thing that she shared, so that everybody else can see that. Thank you, Amy. And this is amazing, what you just said. We only hear your fear. Wow. She said, how brave of them to share that feedback with you, and brave for you to take that on, because that's you're hungry. You if you weren't hungry, you probably wouldn't have asked the question in the first place. Is that true?
But that is the leap of faith, pardon the pun, that you have to take.
Yeah. That's awesome. Nice job.
I think that you have to surround yourself with people who are better than you. And when I say better, I mean have a skill set that you might not have.
Sure.
I work with a group of individuals that are just so talented, someone who is a whiz at Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoint. And to be able to say that presentation was just so sharp and so on point, and your message was so clear. Can you show me how you did that? And you'd be surprised the response from other people. Not only do they embrace you actually acknowledging their special skill, but they want to share it with you.
Sure. Yeah. And then that
you up.
Yeah, because you're growing. They might be growing as well based on that particular conversation. Who knows what they're getting out of that? You never know what, it could be kudos, but they could be a learning moment for them too. Maybe they're not comfortable or haven't been comfortable with sharing their skills in that way.
Or it's funny, this particular individual always says to me, well, I don't know what you're talking about, so I'll just sit back and learn. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? I've experienced you on calls where you beat up a vendor. You go right in there and you can balance their invoice to the penny. Nice. Man, I mean, I went into law because I can't balance my checkbook.
Right.
Finance isn't my sweet spot. But to be able to surround yourself with people smarter than you and embrace that.
Yeah. When I look at this quote, I think that for me, I liked all of it, but what really grabbed my attention was, yet it is important from time to time to reset our equilibrium to get back to basics. to remind ourselves what is the essence of what we are about. And it was the back to basics part, and then the essence of what we are all about. And I think for me personally, I love doing this type of work because I love consuming information, finding something like this, like you're sharing this, right? I love receiving it and then sharing it again, or finding something, reading something and sharing with someone that they might gain some value out of it, or it might transform how they think of something, how they feel about something. And so, and the back to basics part for me was, oh, you know what? In order for me to do what I love to do, it's important for me to show up and be rested, not work myself to death. Take it. I'm working on taking Sundays off, like the whole Sunday. What? Say it isn't so. So, was there anything else that you got out of this, Faith? That, I mean, those were what was blazer for me. Was there anything else that you got out of that you want to share?
Well, I took it one step further. I think that we're our own worst critics.
Mm-hmm. True.
We say, I really wasn't good at that. But just for your past inability to excel at something doesn't mean that for the future you'll never be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to do a plug for working the program with you guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Faith.
I think that the beauty of working the program with you is that all of your mistakes, what we call mistakes, are really learning experiences.
Yes.
And with Bossibly, it's always a do-over.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, when you guys were walking through my resume and I was looking at all of the things that I wrote down that I did, it didn't mean that I liked doing them.
Right.
It didn't mean that I was good at them.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that you can't do a do-over. It's Faith 2.0.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You can do the refresh button and say, okay, even if it's this job, what do I like? What do I don't like? For the next job, what do I need to do to make the best possible Faith going forward? Mm-hmm. And to be in an environment or to have those type of individuals who can look deep into you and give you the feedback that you need in a safe way,
right?
But also encourage you to be your best self. I remember reaching out to both you and Amy, and both of you saying, you're really good at helping others. Do you know that that's your superpower? And I'm like, no,
she doesn't know. What? You can't be serious.
And I never looked at it that way. I never got that type of feedback. But once you point that out to someone, then it opens up a whole new world.
Well, it's hard for us to see it sometimes because it's right here. It's like, it's right in front of our faces, or we're naturally gifted, and we think that everybody else is just, this is normal. Doesn't everybody do it like that? No, no, not everybody cares that much about that particular thing or does it in just the right way that you do it. It's pretty amazing. I'm going to read this because it feels appropriate. I got to find it. So I had found this weekend. I was reading The Power of Now, and you were talking about mistakes. And this was in The Power of Now. So this is, there are cycles of success when things come to you and thrive, and cycles of failure when they wither or disintegrate and you have to let them go in order to make room for new things to arise, for transformation to happen. If you cling and resist at that point, it means you are refusing to go with the flow of life and you will suffer. I was like, whoa, mic drop. That's from Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. But it's I think it's just exactly what you mentioned earlier, in that there are cycles. There are things that go well, things that don't go well, or things that are failures, things that it's opportunities for learning, for growth, for transformation, for what am I learning from this? And what can I take away from it in order to have 2.0? Or in my case, how old am I? I think I'm 48. So I say I'm 4.8.
Well, we don't discuss age here.
I know, no, we don't have to. But my point is that it's the next release, right? Whatever that may be. And I think that's where you were going. It's the next release. That's pretty cool.
Well, when you say let things go, if you spend your life just going through the motions, that person that you were talking about, I'm just doing my time. Is life supposed to be a prison sentence that you get?
I hope not. I know. Some people feel that way though. And they're just waiting for retirement, and then their life will start. Gosh, I mean, that's a mind blower. I can't even fathom just my day-to-day looking like that. But some of it is being hungry, right? Where does the hunger come from? How do you reconnect with that?
I think that people get overwhelmed. They have so much on their to-do list, but they're missing the most important to-do list is be present, to be your most perfect self every day. Let's take the to-do list and put it on the side. And what am I doing right now? Whether it be negotiating an agreement or giving feedback to a coworker.
Right.
What is it that you're doing at this moment that you can change someone's life, make an impression, do good? You know, I truly believe that we're supposed to be a light in people's lives, and that only when you let the light shine into others can they reflect back to you and see a light.
That is beautiful. I got nothing. I got nothing on the back of that. That's pretty cool. And I think that, you know, it's finding the joy in even the little moments, right? So the conversation with a coworker, I mean, you can certainly, when we achieve something big, there's certainly a tremendous sense of accomplishment that comes with that. And there's transformation that is a result of getting a degree or getting a new job or whatever that may be. But I was sharing, I had brunch with my sister a few weeks ago, and it was just that conversation was growth and transformation in that the little bits that we shared with each other, because we were present. We're paying attention. We're listening to one another. We're giving. We're leaning in. Just the simplicity of that was a beautiful thing, right? And it's a wonderful memory for me. And it was just brunch. It was just brunch, right? But how cool! And I think that's what you're getting at. It's whether it's a conversation with somebody you work with or what you're doing in that given moment. What can you learn? What can you give? What can you take away? Yeah. Cool.
I think that being in corporate America, we're jaded. And we say that unless we're making the money, unless we're pursuing that next great big deal, that it doesn't matter and it doesn't count. And I think the challenge is the small wins in life, the ones that you can look to and say, you know, when I did that, I actually made that person better. I actually had an impact on someone. I actually made a difference in someone's life. And to be able to say that, I think there's some quote that no one's going to say, I wish that I would have spent more time making money.
Right.
No one has ever said on their deathbed, I wish I made more money. It's the moments that we cherish with our family and friends that we miss. And that's because of, and then we circle back to the whole inquisitiveness and why. What would happen if we asked the how and the why more often? What would we learn? How would we become better people?
that brought up for me. I don't know if you may like it. It's a kids movie. I like kids movies. It's Wish Dragon. It's called Wish Dragon, and it talks about, it's like the dragon who was, I won't give away the plot, but he was the Wish Dragon, and he had acquired all this money, right? And didn't make him happy. And so I think society's version of that is the ego, the power, the money. I mean, I struggle with it too. Hell, I mean, I got, true story, I got 2 badges, right? One says ego, one says presence. And so these are reminders for me to keep this guy in check, right? This money, this power, and be present with what's in front of me, because it's pretty easy to get sucked into that. But to your point, it's like, is that the measure of success? Is that what transformation looks like? Is that how we grow? No, that's not how we grow.
Or your lasting legacy. Are they going to say, Faith, really, she crushed that last great big deal?
Right, exactly.
Or is it going to be my coworker saying, it's because of Faith that I was able to run that last seminar last month, and she gave me the courage, and she saw something in me that I didn't see within myself?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I would want someone to say about me.
That's right.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. That I was helpful. That you saw something that they didn't see themselves. So you like, this is, look at you, and look how awesome you are, and look what you've done. And they're like, who are you talking to me? Who are you talking to?
But this goes the full circle of the caterpillar, because when you look at the caterpillar that turns into the butterfly, you don't see the beautiful butterfly. You don't see the colors. You don't see the wings. But there's no 2 butterflies that have the same color and the same, it's like God's paintbrush on the butterfly. But what happens if you only looked at the ugliness of the caterpillar? And I'm putting ugliness in my hashtag.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, and I think because the caterpillar that's where the work happens, right? The transformation happens in him eating, right? Her eating, consuming, growing. Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm looking over here because that's where I found the fun fact.
So talk about the symbolism. If the caterpillar is eating from the same tree and not trying different trees, what's type of food? I mean, he gets old and stagnant and it's not enjoyable. But if you take a bite of more than one thing and experience different new things, then isn't that taking the biggest bite of life?
Look at that. Rabbi Faith. That's where I go.
I take it as a compliment.
That's right. Indeed. Anything else that was a beautiful ending, by the way. Is there anything else that you would like to share, Faith, with folks that are watching now or that are going to watch this later?
Don't be afraid to question how things are in your life. Everything doesn't have to be the same forever. If it's not working, shake it up. If it's not working, try something new and have the courage to do so.
That is awesome. Yes. And that's how growth and transformation takes place. Right? Indeed. This is a wonderful way to start a Monday morning. I couldn't think of a better way to start my week, Faith. Thank you so much. And for all of you watching, it's awesome to have you here. And if you watch recording, I hope you got some amazing nuggets from Faith. Thank you, my dear.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, you have a fantastic day.
You too. Take care.
All right.